Welcome back to Healthy Planet, Healthy Me. I'm Sherry Beall. We're joined here in studio with two ladies. First, April Sall. She's the chair of the California Desert Coalition and conservation director for the Wildlands Conservancy. Except for her college years, she has lived in Pioneer Town, a community in the Mojave Desert. She received a biology degree from Humboldt State University and worked for the National Park Service after graduation. Prior to becoming the Wildlands Conservancy Conservation Director, she managed TWC's Pioneer Town Mountain and Mission Creek Preserves. She plays an active role in community and regional conservation affairs, serving on several boards and committees for open space. I'd like to welcome April Sall to Healthy Planet, Healthy Me.
Thank you so much for having us, Sherry.
Sure. And also, Ruth Ryman, she's the vice chair of the California Desert Coalition, and she has lived in the Morongo Basin for the past 29 years and been active in community and regional affairs as a volunteer board member on nonprofit organizations, including the Copper Mountain College Foundation. She has served as an elected board of director for a special district water agency. Welcome to Healthy Planet, Healthy Me, Ruth Ryman.
Thank you, Sherry. It's a pleasure to be here.
What is the mission of your organization?
Well, here we did create a mission, and we call it the objective of the California Desert Coalition is to stop the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power's Green Path North from affecting the communities and lands between Desert Hot Springs and Hesperia. And having said all of that, we have reached out regionally and nationally and really have a lot of support for our position that there's a better way to do this.
For those who have never even heard about this project, what is its purpose?
The purpose is to develop geothermal from the Salton Sea and bring it to an urban center.
Yeah, that is definitely what the headline of Green Path North is, to bring Salton Sea geothermal power to Los Angeles. And that part is not, again, what we're disputing. It's really about the route that they're choosing to bring this power to Los Angeles, and also to the process that has unfolded thus far, which has not been a very open and transparent process.
Okay. Now, here we've got the issue of it possibly being 2 to 5 miles wide, building through pristine, clean, beautiful desert, putting up these transmission towers. Also, it's a question of, I'm sure, affecting the wildlife in the area. What are your main concerns and the concerns of the community around there?
That corridor process involves upgrading a corridor to 2 to 5 miles where other utilities can essentially piggyback in. So it really depends on the BLM's designation of the corridor, the width.
What would another option be to not tear through that land and put up these transmission towers?
There is an existing utility corridor that runs down the I-10 freeway that is currently used mostly by Southern California Edison, and that would require LADWP to negotiate with Southern California Edison for right-of-way space in that existing corridor. Now, currently there is capacity space in that corridor, and Southern California Edison has said both privately and publicly that they are willing to work with LADWP on a corridor through the I-10. So that is really the win-win solution for everyone. It is not only the shortest distance to Los Angeles, and thus a lot less loss in terms of the transmission loss for the power throughout the corridor, but it also is an area that's obviously already impacted for that use, and it's extremely appropriate.
So I'd like to welcome to Healthy Planet, Healthy Me, the CEO and General Manager of LADWP, David Nahai.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thanks for taking the time today. So go ahead and tell us from the LADWP directly about this Green Path North project, because, you know, a lot of people have not heard much about it until now.
Well, the Green Path project has been kind of discussed for some time. Exactly how long, I don't know. But what I can tell you is about my personal involvement with it. And before I became, by the way, the CEO of LADWP,
yes.
I served on the DWP Commission. And during the time that I was the president of the commission, a number of letters came from the community objecting to the Green Path project. For a start, you should know that the project has been delayed by about 3 years now, and that's absolutely fine.
Right.
It is what we should do to make sure that we have the least environmental impact.
Absolutely.
as many as 6 routes have been identified now, and we're looking at a possible 7th. What was initially contemplated was above ground towers throughout the alignment with carrying something like between 12 to 1600 megawatt capacity. We've scaled that down. The size will be 800 megawatts, and by doing that, we're now able to underground through sensitive environmental areas.
Okay, Mr. Nahai, just because we're running short on time, there's a couple of questions that I'd like to just sort of quick questions to ask. Once we put up those towers, we can't take them down. I mean, if it's 80 miles and 2 to 5 miles wide, how many human beings and animals and would that affect? That's the question. Now, I think there was one mention of possibly using a corridor, and I'd just like to specifically ask you about that if I could, and that is what Edison is using the route and sharing the route and working something out possibly with the route that already exists.
Yes, the I-10 corridor is one of the alignments. And we are in very regular discussions and meetings with Edison to find a way in which we can share that corridor. Now, that corridor has its own limitations. It only goes up so far, and then we would have to find another way of bringing the power to Southern California's urban centers.
Let me ask you one other thing, and that is you talk about with the project the solar power, the wind power, and the geothermal. Now, what powers would be involved in this project? Would there be some coal? Would there be some?
No. No, we've already Los Angeles has already made the commitment in an adopted policy that the only power that we will put on Green Path North will be renewable energy. It will be principally geothermal,
yes,
and solar. And so, while I can certainly understand, people's concern, even people's alarm.
Sure.
This is, as I say, this is just at its beginning stages,
right?
And it will go through many changes as we go along, and as we try to navigate the process through to its end. But it is something that we will all be doing together.
I would like to thank you so much, H. David Nahai, who just joined us here. He's the CEO and General Manager of the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. Thank you so much for joining us today and for all your good work.
Sherry, thank you very much.
Okay.
Take
care.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Let's go back to April real quick first and see, April, from hearing from Mr. Nahai, who joined us from the LADWP, is there any comments you'd like to make?
Yeah, first I would like to clarify that the coalition has been very supportive of renewable energy development and continues to take that position. So this is not an issue of being against renewable energy projects or transmission in itself. It's about there's a right way to do this project with the least amount of impact, bringing the most renewable energy possible to the city, and that project is not yet on the table.
We've heard that we're at the beginning of the process, and certainly we would sit back if we were confident that that was true. But when you look at the BLM application and what the BLM will tell you, that doesn't square with them. The only specified route is the route through the Morongo Basin and through these lands that we're talking about. So we are concerned that we need to get this message out because it doesn't square with the actions and the words.
I admire these two ladies who drove 2.5 hours to come into the studio. This is nothing they're getting paid for. They're trying to raise awareness for the land, to keep it pristine. They're caring about the wildlife. You're tuned to KPFK 90.7 FM Los Angeles, 98.7 FM Santa Barbara. We're streaming worldwide at kpfk.org. I'm Sherry Beall. You're tuned to Healthy Planet, Healthy Me.
You sure have started something.